Hello and welcome to a very bizarre episode of Sonic Heroes. This is not going to be like the other ones where you hear me actually commentating over the gameplay live as it's happening. This is post-commentary.
Amy sure doesn't give up that easy.
What is this?
And the reason why, I'll let the dialogue play out.
It is bright here.
We got some time. Feeling lucky?
Sonic, we only have 24 hours left.
Okay, let's go.
I hate Tails' voice so much. Anyway, the reason why this is post-commentary is because for those of you who didn't see my community post yesterday, the commentary for this recording was utterly corrupt. The footage, as you can see, is just fine. The recording went perfectly well, but the commentary track was just busted afterwards. I don't know what happened, but it was utterly unusable. And I did not have the energy to record it again because, frankly, I despise playing these two levels, to be completely upfront about it. Granted, it wasn't worse than anything in Adventure 2, but that's a very low bar, so yeah, we can't really use it as a metric. But the reason why I hated it is because of these stupid flippers, and just generally speaking, the mechanics of this pinball, all these pinball machines, is just garbage. Sonic Spinball was not great. I don't know why they decided, hey, let's do that, but in 3D and bigger and longer and more frustrating. Our best idea we've had yet. So I don't particularly feel like playing through this level again, mainly because I'm going to already have to play through it again for Team Dark and Team Rose and Team Chaotix, and even more if I miss the keys. So, in the interest of not losing any brain cells, also that's not the recording glitching, that is the sound of the GameCube version having some issues keeping up. Anyway, yeah, I've supercut together just a generally cogent run of my playthrough of these levels that I'll commentate over here today. So if you were interested in seeing my live reactions to this, I'm sorry to tell you those have been lost forever, and I have no interest in replicating them in any way. So I'm just going to talk about these stages as you see me play through the level. You currently are watching me struggle with the game's controls, trying to grab onto the goddamn Switch, and it's just not letting me. Except for that time when it let me and then immediately stopped letting me, so that was fun. Anyway, yeah. Here's me figuring out how to try to break the damn glass, because every attack I tried didn't work before that point, but then we finally got it. So yeah, we finally broke the glass. Anyway, yeah, these stages suck. I hate them. It's not even just the fact that they're badly designed. It just made me motion sick. And even just watching the footage back right now, I'm kind of getting a little nauseous, just because I don't know if it's the vibrant colors constantly flashing around, or if it's the jerky camera movement, or if it's the flipper that constantly sends you flying all over the place. Whatever it is, it made me very motion sick. I'm sure the fact that I was losing my head at this awful design surely didn't help my mood at all. So yeah, it was just painful. It wasn't fun at all. But so yeah, that's a general gist of what's wrong with the levels. The flipper controls, just generally the pinball controls in general, are garbage. It made me motion sick. But there's some specific things that I'll point out as we go through the footage that you might be interested in seeing. But I guess one thing I'd talk about real quick, Sonic's line at the beginning of this episode where he says, "Boy, Amy sure doesn't give up easily." It's like, Sonic, that battle against her lasted literally 10 seconds. What are you talking about? Oh, this right here. Tails, Knuckles, and Sonic, when you enter this section, they just cite off the encyclopedia of pinballs every time you walk into the area. It's like you're entering a college professor's classroom, and you're just listening to their lecture about how the pinball machine works. They're reading off a script. It's like, why? Usually they give you some advice, as in like, hey Sonic, if we do this, that might help. But this isn't even that. This is just them being like, hey Sonic, I actually know exactly how this pinball machine works. Let me tell you exactly how it works so you know what to do. And it's very jarring to listen to, especially because every time you enter the area, or at least almost every time, you have to listen to it again and again and again. Are we gonna get to hear it here? We sure are. We sure are. They just recite the same play every time. Anyway, yeah, these pinball machines suck. I feel like I sound like a broken record, but they're just awful. You have so little control over where you're going at all times, and sometimes you'll flip the things and they just won't flip you where you want to go. It got to the point where I eventually just said screw this and skipped the section. I don't know, I think it'll be another minute, like half a minute or so before I decide to give up and skip it. Which, yes, you can skip this. I'll show you how if you don't know, but there is it's actually rather easy to skip once you know what to do. So, is this where I skip? Okay, here's what's good. So you switch to Tails, fly on top of the blocks, jump, wait as long as possible to glide, and then float over here, and once you're in this top section, you'll be self-contained until the point where you can flip yourself up. Now, there's that, except for this right here. So I'm over here, and then I'm back here. That made me angry. You want to know why? Well, let me tell you what happened there. So I skipped through the area, and I was like, yes, I figured out how to skip this bullshit pinball section. I did that, and then I saw enemies at the head. I said, oh, enemies. I should switch to the power character so I can fight them as Knuckles. Well, guess what? Apparently, the way this game's switching mechanics work, it doesn't teleport the character to your position when you want to skip to them. No. The way this works is if you're playing as Tails and he's over by a group of enemies, and Knuckles is halfway across the map, perhaps even falling to his death, and you switch to Knuckles, guess what? You're going over to where he is. He's not coming to you, you're going to where he is. Which means I did that whole section, skipped it all, and then I got warped back to the bottom because I switched to Knuckles when I saw enemies. I don't know who made that choice, but it was an awful, awful design choice. I don't know what they were thinking with that. It was infuriating. Like, you saw I paused the game there because that's where I went on a rant about how dog shit of well, first off, I didn't know what the hell happened. I was just confused. I didn't know what the hell happened. Like, how did we get to the point where I was up there with Tails, then I switched to Knuckles, and I was suddenly down there? I didn't understand what happened at first. And I thought about it, and I realized, oh, this game's switching mechanic, shit, got it. I understand now. So, yeah, that wasn't fun to deal with. And in case anyone wants to ask, wait, so do you hate this game now? No, I don't hate this game. I just hate this level. It sucks. Really bad, actually. It's really, really bad. But the dynamic between Team Sonic of speed, flight, and power, it's great. It's a great dynamic. I like the teamwork. Actually, let me talk about that in a second. This switch right here can go fuck itself. This bullshit. Like, I at first thought that I had to launch the characters at the thing, because I thought there's no way you have to grab it as Tails, but nope, you do. You have to float up to the switch and grab it mid-air. The only problem with that is, aside from the fact that the hitbox is jank as hell, the other problem is that the throw your friends button is the same button that's bound to the grab the switch button. So trying to grab it is hell, and I hated it. So that was not great. Anyway, no, I don't hate this game now. I still enjoy the dynamic between having to switch to each character for certain situations. I like the team dynamic they have. I've always been a fan of the dynamic that Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles have, to be honest with you. So to see it in this game, for as awful as Tails' voice acting is, pretty fun. I like it a lot. Unfortunately, it's just, and the first two stages were great as well. It's just that this particular stage happens to be absolutely awful. And Bingo Highway isn't much better. In case you were wondering, Bingo Highway does not get much better than this. And you'll see what Bingo Highway has in store when we eventually get through this level. Then we have probably another minute to go until we get to Bingo Highway. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm looking at the timeline and ending right now, so I can pretty much see it's about a minute to go. Yeah, excuse any slowdown. That's just the GameCube version acting up. I really wish I could have recorded this game on Xbox. Like, it's so nice and simple to record games on the original Xbox, or at least it used to be before all the audio stopped working properly. I don't know what happened there, but unfortunately, it seems like any future original Xbox recordings are not gonna happen, so this might be my only option for stuff like this moving forward, which is gonna be unfortunate. Anyway, also, right there, it kind of looked like Tails did teleport to me, but earlier, when I switched to Knuckles, he didn't teleport. I don't understand how this game system works. I don't like it. Also, is this where I get an A? No, okay.
Enough to pass.
I think I get an A rank on one of these stages, and I'm baffled as to how that happened. It might be the next one. I think I got an A rank on Bingo Highway, and I was just confused as all hell as to how in the world that happened. And oh yeah, that was Casino Park. It looked real painless to you, right? Because it all looked like one continuous motion, edited down to 8 minutes. Yeah, well, I don't. Let me actually see if I can find out right now. Yeah, okay, so what looked like 8 minutes to you took me 23 minutes to get through. And it's only because of those stupid pinball flipper things and the fact that they just never do what you want them to do, ever, for any reason. Especially when you get knocked back somewhere, you have to redo everything over and over again, or you fall through the map, or, okay, not fall through the map, but you fall off the map because of a jank hitbox or camera angle, and then you just kind of have to do it all over again, and it's pain. And like I said, Bingo Highway is not much better, because it's still got that same pinball jank you had before. Oh, this time there's a couple other problems that we'll get to a little bit later. Also, I accidentally walked on top of the tunnel here, and so we had to do a bit of a backtracking here because I didn't even realize that was. I figured I could just jump straight over there because this didn't look like a door that could open, but evidently it was. So yeah, that's nice. I also don't like how you can't switch to Knuckles when you're in the elevator. Like, you have to You have to get to solid ground and then switch to Knuckles and then equip the triangle dive. You can't switch to him and then equip triangle dive mid-elevator, which is kind of frustrating. But, you know. Oh, you know what else is frustrating? I guess I can talk about this right now. This game's emphasis on enemy combat is starting to get on my nerves. I really don't like precisely how many enemies there are to defeat. And not even, oh, is this what I die? Oh no, right. I triangle dive through this shit because I'm like, no, I'm not doing any more pinball garbage. I am triangle diving through this. No more pinball for me. But yeah, I just do not like how many enemies you have to fight. It's not even that they're just optional enemies that are there to fight. It's just that they're like this right here, for instance. I don't even see any enemies. Like, I thought I had to climb up these dice blocks because I didn't see any enemies, and then when I think I land, do I look around? I think I look around to see, yeah, I look around to see if there are any enemies here, and I don't see any, so I naturally assume that I must climb until I see this one enemy. I'm like, okay, one enemy that wasn't there before? I guess I have to fight you. Thanks for joining the party. Then I eventually defeat him after fighting with the homing attack ability, and then I see a bunch of other enemies that literally weren't there a second ago. I don't know how they got here, because they sure as hell weren't there earlier. But yeah, just sections like this where you have to stop the momentum dead in your tracks to fight off a bunch of enemies. Which, you know, fighting enemies in Sonic games is definitely not the best part. Obviously, the part I always like about these games is the sense of momentum and speed you get from platforming through the levels at such a high rate of speed. But there is some fun to be had with enemy combat in certain games, especially if you can chain a bunch of homing attacks together in a continuous motion. That's always very satisfying. It's just the fact that it feels more like a... Knuckles specifically makes it feel more like a beat-em-up than anything else. And trying to hit enemies with tails is just a nightmare. Which I guess is fair, right? Because he's supposed to be the flight character, whereas Knuckles is a strength character who you fight enemies with. Except, oh wait, some enemies can't be hit with any character other than Tails, so... I don't look. I don't want to make it sound like I hate the game now, because I really do enjoy the general gameplay of Sonic Heroes. The first 2 episodes were great. Oh, that's another instance of switching to the character and teleporting halfway across the map, by the way. It's just that these 2 stages just really sapped me. They just sapped all the energy I had out of me. And that's not even to mention the fact that the boss fight for these 2 stages is awful as well. And I hesitate to even call it a boss fight, but you'll see. You'll see what I mean when we get there. When we eventually make our way past this pinball nonsense, you will eventually see what I'm talking about when it comes to the dreaded boss of this. I don't even know what to call this, because they're not. Each stage is clearly the same general aesthetic, just with a different name. So you had, for instance, Seaside Hill versus Ocean Palace, and then here you have Casino Park versus Bingo Highway. But they're both clearly the same general aesthetic, but they're also not labeled Zone 1, Zone 2. They're different, so I can't say Zone 1 of this or Zone 2 of this. So I can't say the boss of this area, or sorry, the Green Hill Zone. I meant to say acts, not zones. Like I can't say this is Act 1 of this zone or Act 2 of this zone. I just don't know what to call it. So the Casino Park levels is what I'll say. The boss of the Casino Park levels is, I hesitate to even call it a boss, but it was. I guess it just embodies what I was talking about earlier when it comes to fighting a bunch of enemies. Oh, also this, where you can fly off the map like that. Just, apparently the pinball machine leads to your death. I didn't know. Well, I was not aware of that until it got me killed, which is something that happens a lot of the time in this game. Granted, there are still a lot of instances like that where if you miss a jump, there is usually a platform below you that you can grab onto to save yourself, unlike a certain other game. But still, it's not without its pain and suffering. But yeah, well, I guess Knuckles let go of the chain there. I don't know what happened there, but Knuckles seemed to have let go of the chain for a second. But yeah, the thought of Cream, because I believe Cream is the flight character for Team Rose. The thought of Cream carrying Big the Cat is just hilarious to me. I find this. I guess kind of the same thing with, I think, Charmy the Bee in Team Chaotix managing to carry, Vector the Crocodile, I think his name is. Or even just, hell, even just Rouge carrying the massive robot that is E123 Omega. Also, if the flight for Team Dark controls the same way it controls for Tails, then I'm gonna have some questions, because Tails doesn't fly the same way that Rouge does if we go by the games I've played. Tails can actually, you know, hover like a helicopter, whereas Rouge is more of a glider in how she flies, so it'll be interesting to see how that controls, but I'm also not really looking forward to Team Dark anyway, because just like I said, I've heard Team Dark stages are just the worst. Well, maybe not the worst, but the hardest. And hardest when it comes to these types of games doesn't typically end well. I also don't like that you can't really stand on these rotating dice blocks. Like, I feel like for a little bit of time, the ground would be stable enough to where I could stand on top of it and reacquaint myself to get the next jump, but it doesn't even count as a solid surface until they stop rotating. At which point they go from rotating randomly to stretching and shrinking randomly. Or squash and stretch, I guess is what the term you use for that. I don't know. But it's just a structure. Also, yeah, the camera glitches out every now and again. There's a couple times the camera's done stuff like that, but I'll still take this camera any day of the week over Adventure 2's camera in a landslide victory. This game, even with how much I absolutely despise these two levels, and how much I actively dread having to play them again as the other characters' stories, still better than Adventure 2. Yeah, see this enemy right here. I've tried to attack him as Sonic and Knuckles, and unless I'm missing something, it just doesn't work out. You have to fight some things as Tails. Oh, is this the part where I die? Again, it might, maybe, I'm not sure. There's a part where we get into a giant, yeah, okay, that's what it is. That's what it was. That's exactly what it was. Sonic just clipped through the map. This is what happened right there. That's exactly what I was thinking of. That is just when Sonic clipped through the map. Now, granted, I had learned that because of the way this game's teleport or character switching mechanic work, it allowed me to save myself because when I fell off the map, I was able to switch to Tails to save my life. That's good to know, but it's also like I wouldn't have had to do that if Sonic didn't glitch through the map, and also, it's also to your detriment because sometimes you'll end up switching yourself to somewhere, you'll end up going backwards in the level. Now, granted, going backwards here was, again, to my benefit because it allowed me to save myself, but sometimes, like what happened in the last level, it'll just send you further back to your detriment, so it's, I guess you could call the system a blessing and a curse, I don't know, but it's, in this same episode, it has screwed me and saved me multiple times. So, I don't know, it's complicated, but at least, I think once you make your way past this slide section, you're home free. I think the sliding is the last thing you have to do in the level. Also, I don't even know why you fall through the hole there. I don't know why the angle I hit was what sent me falling through. I feel like I shouldn't have been sent falling through the hole there, but whatever, I suppose. I don't know.
Here we go.
And I think that was a miss. I don't think I actually meant to switch there, or I guess maybe I was getting ready to switch when I landed. But then when I didn't actually land in time to switch to Sonic or something. I don't know. It's, like I said, it's helped me and it screwed me. It was making my way through these two levels was only pain. Just the purest form of pain and suffering. Ay, ay, ay. But hey, at least, do I make it? I think I die here as well. Okay, no, I actually survived. I thought I might have been sent into the, oh wait, is it here? Yeah. The momentum for this slide is really here. I think I'm just gonna skip ahead here so you don't have to watch the rest of this. Yeah, the momentum for those sections is just weird as hell in terms of where it sends you. But I do believe this is the home stretch. I think the end of the level is growing near. Is it the end of this slide at the end of the level? No, you have to get to another pinball section. Oh wait, no. Oh right, the gold ring is in there. Okay. I got lucky here and I just I flipped myself through the barriers. Don't know how, I just do. But we lived, so it's all that matters. Oh, and I think I do A-rank this.
Perfect.
I do not understand how or why, but I guess I A-ranked it. Sure. Uh-huh. Sure. I'll take it. I will accept the A rank, even though I don't think I actually earned that.
Eggman.
Why not have some fun while you can? After all, you only have one game, and we know who's going to win. Get them!
And now comes the part where you fend off a bunch of enemies. Yeah, remember that boss I was talking about? It's not a boss. It's just wave defense. That's all this is. I at first thought it was going to be like, oh, you send some waves at me, and then we attack him. Like what I'm trying to do here is I thought, oh, okay, now that the enemies are clear, now's when I attack Eggman himself. So I'm trying to, you can see me, I'm trying to throw Sonic and Knuckles at Eggman as Tails. And I think do I try it again here? yeah, I keep trying if I can find Eggman, which I could not find in there because it just was impossible to find. I keep trying to do that because I keep thinking it's gonna work. Because my assumption was, oh, it's a boss battle. We must be having to face off against, you know, a boss. Especially since it was like the introduction cutscenes showed off Eggman's little floating ship. So I keep trying to throw the enemies at him to deal damage to him, but it keeps not working. So yeah, I don't feel the need to show you all of this. It is quite literally just an enemy. I mean, you can look at the timer. Almost 3 minutes of just an enemy gauntlet. Waves upon waves of enemies, and this is kind of the embodiment of what I mean when it comes to just... This game kind of feels like a beat 'em up in a lot of instances, where you're just constantly fighting enemies. So, is this where it finally ends? Am I finally... Okay, there we go. I was finally freed. Yeah, whatever. By the way, that better not happen again. There better not be any more bosses like that, where it's just wave defense. That better not happen again. But hey, we did it. We played through the levels. Sorry I couldn't provide a live commentary, but like I said, it was kind of beyond my control what happened. So hopefully you found this video entertaining even in spite of that. And with that, I'll leave things here. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for next time, and hope to catch you all tomorrow for a proper episode of Sonic Heroes. Goodbye.